When I came home after a week-long trip, I heard noises coming from inside the house. I got scared that it might have beer burglarized while we were gone.
Did you hear that? Maybe it's the house.
Shouldn't we call the police? I asked my husband, but he didn't seem concerned at all.
It's all right. 33.
He walked into the house as he usually did, but this time he was carrying a small box. I followed him in a haste and found my mother-in-law and sister-in-law inside. I was relieved to see that they were thieves, but I wondered why they were stealing from a church. They supposedly offered to take care of our house while we were away, so my husband gave them the key. I thought they were going to leave, returned.
It's going to be dark soon, if you home.
I urged them, let us take it easy today. They not only didn't leave, but took living room and started to take a shoe without permission. I thought they would go the next day. The next morning, they didn't show of it at all. When I came home from work, they were there. I couldn't take it anymore, so I asked husband to kick them out. His reply was,
We all live together now, so if you like it, you get out.
he was asking me to leave instead. I said, okay, and left with only necessities in my carry-on bag. My name is Lizzie, 2-year-old editor of a magazine. I had hardly been in a relationship with him. I was attracted to his decisive and dependable personality, unlike me. He said the love word first, and after years of dating, he proposed to me married. When we were looking around for a new and wedding venue, he made everything run smoothly and reliably. I enjoyed living with him in our new house, but my mother-in-law Kelly and sister-in-law Joe were my headaches. My father-in-law passed away about a year ago. Alex's family consisted of Kelly and 27-year-old Joe. Was worried that I wouldn't get any of them. We only had minimal contact with each other before we got married, so I thought we could keep our distance. However, after we got married, they started bothering me. Kelly called me almost every day.
Can you increase my allowance just a bit? I can't live a decent life with the amount. Just 200 more is enough.
She nagged me. Alex was in charge, so I told her to instead of me.
I'm sure you're spending extravagantly. That's why you can't give me more. You're supposed to take good care of your in-laws, or karma will bite you.
She refused to listen to me and ever me for her problem. Other than that, she told me to visit her more and help her with the chores. As a daughter-in-law, it was perfect. Send her favorite food every month, while she gave me lectures over the visited me unannounced. When I was cooking dinner, she often overstayed her welcome by saying, I was in the neighborhood, so I thought I'd drop by. Is your dinner ready yet? I'm hungry, hurry up and let me eat. She relaxed on the sofa until it was ready and then left after she ate. I told her repeatedly to give me a heads up when she was coming over and not to drop in too frequently. Don't mind me. I'm just stopping by. You can just feed me whatever. She didn't want to listen to me, and useless for me to keep arguing with. I couldn't be too harsh on her because she was Alex's sister. When I told him that I wasn't happy Kelly and Joe, he also warned both one. So I didn't react strongly against myself. 6 months into our marriage, A decided to go on a non-honeymoon, which had been delayed due to our World Cup schedule. The destination was Europe, and we were ready to experience it to the fullest and release daily stresses. After a week-long trip without any, we returned to the house and heard from inside.
Did you hear that? Maybe there is the house. Shouldn't we call the police?
I asked Alex, but he didn't seem to be concerned at all.
It's all right. 33.
He walked into the house, as he assured. I hurriedly followed him and found Joe. I was relieved to see that they were thieves, but I wondered why they were in our house. Oh, you're back. Give me a souvenir now. The bracelet I asked you for. Did it?
Of course not. It's too expensive.
While I was stunned, the three of them chatting happily.
Why are you guys here?
Are you saying that our president is a nuisance? An empty house is an easy target for while you are on vacation. We went out of our way to protect it. You should be grateful.
They offered to take care of our house while we were away, so Alex gave them the keys. I told him that he should talked about it. He responded that he didn't have tin. They came to him at the last minute. What had been done was already done. They tried to think that the house was safe for them. I took a look around the house, and every room was messy with its stuff. Joe's clothes were hung in a large quarter of the closet. And the rest that were piled up on the floor in the living room, clothes, bags, controls, comic books, and all sorts things were strewn around, not only on the table, but also on the floor. I was exhausted after my flight and was frustrated to clean up all those things. But that wasn't the problem. I thought Kelly and Joe were going to leave after we arrived, but they didn't.
It's going to be dark soon if you home now.
Let us take it easy today.
They not only didn't leave, but they over the living room and started to shower without permission. They totally made themselves at home. I thought they were going to leave day, but there was no sign of it the morning. They were still there when I came from work. I told them that it was time for the home.
We're family. You don't have to mirror. You can just pretend we are not here.
They adamantly stayed put. Although I was told not to care about being the one who cooked, cleaned, and did the laundry, I didn't feel at ease at all. If I didn't get rid of them, even by they would have remained as long as wanted. I decided to ask Alex to kick them. I was cleaning up my room when I noticed that one of my perfume collections was missing. It was a limited edition that was no on sale and cost over $300. I had been using it carefully, little. I panicked and asked Kelly about it, didn't even know I had perfume. When I questioned Joe, "Oh, I have it." She pulled it out of her bag and held it up. The bottle I got was almost empty. I had used it so carefully that I sewn more than 60 of it left. It smells good, doesn't it? My friend liked it too, so I lent it. She showed no sign of apologizing. Finally lost my temper.
Why did you use it without asking? You are doing is theft. Didn't you learn that you shouldn't from others?
What the hell? I only borrowed it moment. Why are you overreacting?
If you just borrowed it, then give what you used.
Fine, but it was already used, so you get half of the money.
So I don't want the money back. I want perfume back. 33.
You're so mean, just for the stupid ass. I know that brand too. It shouldn't be too expensive. She looked up the price on her phone. Why is it so expensive? Are you dumb spending $300 for per? If it's so important, why don't you up? It was more expensive than she thought, so she became upset with me.
It's valuable to me, so I used it inside the house. I never imagined that I would end up relative that comes into my room and uses my stuff without my permission.
While we were arguing, Alex came home.
What are you guys making a fuss about?
Listen, Alex, she called you a thief. I left her complaining in the living room, told Alex what had happened in the bedroom. I told him that I was out of patience and wanted him to get rid of them.
Don't get so worked up about a little mistake. And I haven't told you that they are live with us in this house.
My mouth was agape at his unbelievable reply.
My mom's house was old, and some pa falling apart. She was contemplating whether she should repair them or move out. We have spare rooms here, so she could come and stay with us. We also gave her some money, so we decided to let her stay with us.
Why didn't you talk to me about it? Do you own this house? I'm paying the mortgage too, right?
Don't blame me. My mom took it upon herself to sell her house. Anyway, we are living together, so don't like it. You get out. 33.
He decided without discussing it with me. He even told me to leave. I felt my feelings for him fading at.
I understand. 39.
I started packing the bare necessities in my carry-on case. Alex didn't try to stop me, but as I was immature, I ran away after an argument and walked out of the bedroom. Kelly and Joe were grinning as they watched Sam pack up his things. They locked the door behind him as he walked out of the house. I had no intention of going back there and had no feelings in particular. Then I went to a hotel and called my boss, with whom I usually consulted on various matters and asked for a few days off. I looked for an apartment during my days off and informed my parents that I separated from Alex with an explanation. They asked me what I was going to do, so I told them I was going to get a divorce. In the meantime, Alex texted me once, "When you are sorry, you can come back." Mom and Joe both say they would forgive him. When I called him to ask for a divorce, he at first resisted by saying, "You're divorcing me over something like this? You just have to put up with it a bit." He eventually understood that I was determined and agreed to it. From then on, things proceeded smoothly, and the divorce was finalized in 6 months. Wanted to get rid of him ASAP, so I went over the division of property, gave the house to him. We had been married for less than a year when we got divorced. My friends and colleagues were worried about what had happened. If it were up to me, I would have shrugged off the whole thing. This time, I was so over it that I didn't even bother with the details. They all said, "That's impossible. But if you had to go through that, then it must be possible." I was glad to tell them because they sympathized with me, which made me feel better. After I started living alone, I worked than ever before. Instead of spending time on chores, 3 times as many projects as usual, and even supported those who were overwhelmed. My boss was concerned about me, but when I became alone, the memories of the hard times popped up in my mind, and I started blaming myself. I was grateful to devote myself to it. While I was submerged in work, Alex, about 5 months after my divorce, I had left most of my belongings behind, but I had taken with me a few things that were important to me. I answered the phone thinking it, about that. At first, he asked me what I was doing, whether I was living alone. He didn't want to get to the point. I thought it was unusual, as he was a person who got cranky, if anyone. I didn't want to waste my time, so him the purpose of his call. He said he wanted to get back together with me. I had no intention of doing so, so I said I tried to hang up the phone. He rushed to stop me.
Wait, there's something I haven't yet told you.
What is it? I'm busy, so hurry up.
Can you lend me some money?
I'm struggling to pay my mortgage. It used to be paid for by both of us. We knew it must have been hard to bear alone. I also knew it wasn't that much of his salary couldn't cover. He explained that he had expected to get a few months ago, but it hadn't happened. He was also told that there would be no chance of it in the future at his next performance. If that was the case, he decided to look for a job. He thought it was going to be easier one with better conditions. The reality was that he could only that paid less, and he hadn't been changed jobs yet. Whatever the reason, I didn't want him money. I told him not to call me anymore.
You're still single, right? No one will take a not-so-young diva. You'd better get back together with me.
I simply said, "No, thank you," and the phone.
I didn't understand why I fell in L and married him. I was so disappointed in my lack of discernment. After that, not only Alex, but also Joe started harassing me many times. I found out from the conversations that they believed Alex was making income, all because we bought a new house and had a big wedding. When their allowance wasn't increased, Alex kept refusing to do chores. They thought that I was preventing it. They rejoiced that they could live a comfortable life after it. Left, but it was less than what they had expected. When they realized that the life they had envisioned was disappearing, they panicked. They must have thought men were paid more than women, but my salary was higher than that. I wanted to block them all on my phone, but Alex knew where I worked. I was worried he would call me at work or show up at my office, so I tried to answer his call once times. He usually complained about Kelly's spending too much money, but he had saved up a lot of money. They started working part-time, but couldn't make ends meet because they didn't earn enough money quickly enough. It was always about money. I thought if I told him that I didn't have any either, he would stop calling me. I decided to tell him the next time he called. That day, as usual, he said,
I need a loan. I don't have any more money for the mortgage this month.
So I responded,
Actually, I'm going to resign from soon. I've spent most of my savings, so I had to lend me some money. If you think I'm lying, you can ask at work.
Hearing this, Alex just said, I see up the phone. Since then, he stopped calling me. When I told my friend about this, Alex's current situation was much difficult than I had heard. He ended up getting a lower paying job, with most of his salary being taken by the payments. Not only that, Joe had an affair with the manager of her part-time job. His wife found out and filed a civil claim against him. In the beginning, Joe said that he asked her out and she had no idea he was married. However, based on the exchange of text messages, he was aware that his wife was pregnant and had asked her out. The manager and his wife divorced, charging a large amount of compensation. Her friends found out about it, and both her job and friends. Alex's family is paying off the mortgage debt caused by the lawsuit. It's like they live to pay off debt. Kelly is said to have complained about her grandchildren, but her children are single and poor. Alex whines to his friend that they every day.
He laments that he's single now, but don't pay attention to him. He lost weight and looks disheveled. He's looking much older than his age woman would want him.
A friend rolls her eyes. I told many people why I divorced. This friend is the only one. He has nowhere else to turn, so he tells her everything. She's the one who introduced us and is partly responsible for the outcome. Not only does she weirdly enjoy hearing dramas, but she keeps in touch with her family to keep them away from me. As for me, I have recently founded a web magazine with my university friend. I left my job and spent most of my time setting up the company. It's a small startup and I have to do many things on my own, but I'm happy with new challenges. I used to be intimidated to start but thanks to many obstacles that have been thrown my way, I'm able to manage through them all. And I have a new relationship with Met at work. He respects my feelings and leads me. Thanks to meeting him, I realized that he was not a decisive leader, but was just selfish. For a few months after my divorce, like I could never get married or have a boyfriend again, now I'm able to think positively and cherish my new happiness.